guys, it's Nancy with Nancy's Nibbles of Life, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, again, welcome. My name is Nancy and I'm on the WW Personal Points program, and I also count calories. So welcome to the channel. I have a great video for you today. You know, I love fish, right? I love any preparation of fish, but I also love low country cooking, Creole inspired cooking, and Southern cooking. And so today I have all of my favorites in one. This is a fish and gravy recipe. You know, it almost reminds me of a shrimp and grits kind of recipe. You know, my family has Creole roots and I'm used to seeing tomato-based sauces in Creole cooking, but there are also a few brown ones, and this is what this recipe reminds me of. Kind of a fish and gravy. But the points are so incredible. 4 points. You're not going to believe it. The calories are also very low. Stick around to see how it works. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, let's get into our ingredients. You're going to need some all-purpose flour, and you're also going to need yellow cornmeal. We'll get into the quantities a little bit later as usual. And you're also going to need some fresh rockfish. Now, this is the fish that I chose. You can choose whatever you like. Catfish would be delicious in this. You are also going to need a half of a fresh lemon, some chicken broth. I love this organic chicken broth from Trader Joe's, the free range. You're also going to need the seasonings of your choice. I'm using the 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's and a little bit of garlic powder. And you're also going to need some sliced almonds. Now, this is just a topping that I love for this recipe. You can omit if you don't like nuts or you're allergic. For our fats, we're going to use, I can't believe it's not butter, light. We're going to use a little bit of olive oil and also cooking spray. So the combination of those fats. Alrighty. The first thing we want to do is get our flour and cornmeal mixed together. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of a white all-purpose flour. And you know, I know that folks use all kinds of flours out there these days, almond flour, things like that. But I am using, for the purpose of this recipe, the white flour. And I'm also going to use 1 tablespoon of the yellow cornmeal mix. So 1 tablespoon of each will be 2 points. It's 1 point per ingredient. So our mix here, 2 points. So give that a good stir, combine it well, make sure the flour and the cornmeal are mixed together well. And let's take a look at our rockfish. Nice and fresh. I want to just make sure that I don't have any obvious bones here. I love this rockfish. You know, it's very much like a red snapper, but Trader Joe's has great fish there. And again, I really love it. 1 fillet is probably about 4 ounces. And another great part about this fish is that it is thick in some areas and thin in others. So you get a little bit of a texture thing with this rockfish. And as you know, well, for me, fish is 0 on the WW personal points plan for me. Fish is 0 points. So if it's not one of your 0 point foods, you want to go ahead and add the calories or points in. But again, I just love this fish. Okay, I'm adding my garlic powder and 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's. I love that seasoning. And you season according to how you see fit. I am only adding the seasoning to one side of the fish because I think that that's sufficient. I never season both sides of my fish just because it sometimes can get too salty or overpower. All right, now we want to take our flour and cornmeal mix and essentially toss it onto the fish. You could do whatever method you want. I think for the purposes of this video, I'm just using my spoon and my cutting board here to ensure that I get the coating on both sides of the fish really well. You know, another fun method would have been simply to put it in a paper bag and shake it up, that's also good, which probably most people do when, for example, you're frying fish, because we'll essentially be sauteing this fish. But there it is. You want to get your fish fully coated. Ensure that you have enough of that coating on each side of the fish, front and back, and on the sides. There we go. Okay, let's work with our lemon. So again, you're just going to need the juice of half of a lemon, fresh lemon juice. Lemon goes so well with any fish preparation you have. The citrus brings out the freshness in the fish. And again, it's just a flavor profile that I really love for this dish. So I'm going to use my lemon juicer here. I like this juicer because you see the seeds are running down the sides. It just catches any seeds that you have and it creates the juice there in the cup container. It's just really easy to use. And it really does a good job at getting all the juice out, your flesh, combining it together and just getting all the juice that you need. So there we are. I probably dropped a seed or two in there, but we'll fish that out. All right. Haha, no pun intended. Fish it out. Get it? All right, so let's add our chicken stock. Chicken stock is 0 points, and so is that lemon. We're using 1/4 of a cup of our chicken stock. We're going to add it to our fresh lemon juice, along with a little more of our garlic powder and our 21 seasoning salute. So, I am not using a salt here because chicken stock has plenty of salt in it. So it's, a way for me to control the salt in this dish. So adding additional seasonings to my fresh lemon juice and chicken stock, giving that a stir, and there we are. Okay, let's work on sauteing this fish. I'm adding cooking spray to a skillet because it just gives us a little extra oil for no points. 0 points for cooking spray. Can't beat that. And we're going to add 1 teaspoon of olive oil to our skillet. So I often find when I need to use a fat like an oil, 1 teaspoon is kind of enough. It saturates the bottom of your skillet enough. It gives you just enough fat so where you can kind of taste it and feel it in your dish, So 1 teaspoon of olive oil is 1 point. It's worth it for that 1 point for me because, sometimes in a dish I do miss the fat of an oil. So 1 teaspoon of that olive oil, and we're going to use the cooking spray and the olive oil mix to saute our fish. And you see there it has a fry to it, Now this is a little messy, but I'm adding extra cornmeal from my cutting board onto the top of that fish. You probably have a neater way of doing it. And also adding the remaining coating from that flour and cornmeal mix to the top of my fillet. All right, so we're going to go ahead and allow this to saute for about 5 or 6 minutes, not very long. And we're going to toss it, and that is the total cook time, I'd say 5 or 6 minutes, because we're going to finish it in the oven. So let's just allow our filet here to saute. And again, we're going to flip it so that it gets to both sides. Okay, let's give our fillets a flip. And you see it's not cooked too brown. Again, these are going to go in the oven, but we've cooked it enough to ensure that that coating sticks to our fillets. So there we are, a nice golden brown color. Not too deep, but deep enough. And we're going to go ahead and remove those fillets because we're going to deglaze our skillet. This is how we're going to make the gravy of our dish. I love this dish, I definitely have Creole roots in my family, and this reminds me of delicious Creole food that I have had growing up, Most of our Creole dishes were made with a tomato sauce or stewed tomatoes, but this is more of a brown gravy. Okay, we're going to lower our temperature a little bit on the skillet, and this is where we add the fresh lemon juice and chicken stock mix. And we're going to go ahead and again just kind of deglaze our skillet. And the bottom of that skillet has that cornmeal and flour mix, and you'll see that it creates somewhat of a gravy for us. This would be a good time if you had any to add Creole seasonings, Something like even a gumbo filet would be good here to add, but we're not going to do that today. I think we have enough seasonings in, again, the salt in that chicken stock and the 21 seasoning salute and the garlic powder. And, we want our lemon flavor to stay kind of prominent. So there we are. Now, let's go ahead and add even more fat to this stock or gravy by adding 1 tablespoon of the I Can't Believe It's Not Butter Light. So I love I Can't Believe It's Not Butter Light because the points are incredible. 1 point for the light, 1 tablespoon of that, just 1. And it really does give you like a buttery taste and consistency. So, I know that everybody uses their favorite light margarine or light butter, but the I Can't Believe It's Not Butter Light is definitely one of my favorites, especially at 1 point per tablespoon. Okay, so again, we're going to allow this butter to sit in our gravy mix and get warm, and we're going to mix it throughout, and it just adds another layer of a fat flavoring to your meal. So really, really good. What's gravy without feeling like it's a little bit of fat in there, So, and these are great ways to add it for 0 points. Okay, let's preheat our oven to 350 here because we're going to let this dish finish in the oven. Go ahead and incorporate that light I Can't Believe It's Not Butter into our gravy. It's looking really good, and believe me, at this point it was also smelling really good. This is a great dish just for yourself, or serve it for guests one night because it is kind of a fancy dish. You could dress it up, and again, it just kind of evokes a Creole feel to it. You could have a Creole night and serve this to your family. The points are excellent. 4 points for this entire dish. You just can't beat that. And of course, I am counting calories now as well. And this dish comes in at 285 calories. That is so awesome for something that kind of feels hearty. So you really just can't, beat that. Okay, let's add our filet back to this gravy. And again, we're going to finish it in the oven. So we have preheated our oven to 350 degrees. And we're just going to add this into the oven. And we're going to let it cook for about 12 minutes. There we are. Before it goes in the oven, let's give it a good look. So I am not going to necessarily douse the gravy over my fish now because I kind of want to retain a little bit of the crispiness on the fish. Okay, I love slivered almonds. I add them to just about everything. They are just a good little crunch factor, and of course nuts are excellent for you. And did you know that 3 grams of a slivered almond is 0 points? That's awesome. 0 points for nuts. How? Why? I love it. Okay, our fish is out of the oven. 12 minutes in, you can see that gravy has thickened up on us a little bit. We've still retained some of the crispiness in our fish. Oh my goodness, it looks so delicious. Look at that. Almost low country cooking here on my channel for 4 points. Can you believe that? Really great. Now, I'm going to go ahead and plate this dish up. So I'm serving today with a little bit of rice because, of course, who doesn't want a little bit of rice with their gravy? adding my fillets of fish, and then we're gonna drizzle that delicious brown gravy on top of the fish and the rice, of course, so we can sop it up together. You know, this is a wonderful dinner at 4 points. Now, I'm not adding the points for the rice. You can, it depends on how much rice you want, or maybe you want to use something like a cauliflower rice, which would also be really great here. So I'm not going to add the points for the rice and the veggies that I'm going to use here. But, again, you can decide how you want to serve this dish. But 4 points for the fish and gravy. Such an excellent point factor for this very hearty meal, Really, really delicious. So let's go ahead and wipe our plate. Presentation is everything. But doesn't this look delicious already? And that fish still has a little bit of crunch factor to it. Our gravy is nice and luscious because of the fats that we use. We're adding these slivered almonds here to give it a little bit more of a crunch factor. It's just a nice additional touch. And there we have our fresh lemon, so that that some lemon is in the flavoring of our gravy. And I've also added a few parsley flakes on top. This looks so yummy. You got to try this. So easy to put together. And again, 4 points. And fish is great for you. The healthy fats in fish. We used an extra virgin olive oil, so not so bad. And of course that light, I can't believe it's not butter. It's a great dish. So I'm adding a few green beans to it. Look at that fish. It has retained its firmness. So good, nice and juicy, still crispy on the edges. Get a little bit of gravy in there. Oh my gosh, such a nice dish. You have to really, really give this one a try, guys. Well, what did you think about that recipe? So easy, right? And again, it just kind of reminds me of Southern classics, smothered chicken, shrimp and grits, those kind of things. And for 4 points, that's pretty incredible. You could have that anytime you want. And again, you don't have to stick to rockfish. Catfish would be wonderful in this recipe. Whatever your favorite fish is, shrimp even. You could try shrimp. So there it is. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you give this recipe a shot. If you do, don't forget to give me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Lots of great recipes on the channel, and I'm always working to bring you more. Okay, that's going to do it for this one, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!